Hello and welcome to the Future Proof Podcast. This is our podcast we do every couple months where we talk about what we're working on, anything that we're planning to do that we think is cool. I'm Gregory.
And I'm Melissa. And top of the order is that we are in a discount right now, a sale.
Yeah. So Ossuary, our first commercially released game, is on sale on the Humble store right now and will be for a while until May 23rd. So you should check it out if you haven't played Ossuary already. I think it's really cool. It's a dark comedy where you're going through an underworld that's partly inspired by Discordian religious writings. Your inventory items are all the 7 deadly sins, and you're kind of trying to encourage people to discard false virtues that they've been pursuing and actually self-actualize and be true to themselves and throw off various shackles, all very future-proof games sort of things. You should check it out. Search for Ossuary on the Humble store. There will be a link in the show notes.
Yep.
And it's half off. It's a good deal. We don't discount that deep very often, so you should check it out.
Yeah, and on Humble it is DRM free. Although it does come with a Steam key. So if you're like, damn you, Steam, I don't want that version, you can have the advantage of your Steam library without the DRM. So,
yep.
Yeah. It's been a long time since we've done a Humble sale, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
We're doing a big spring one.
Yeah, check that out. We've got a little bit of a PSA too regarding Exploit Zero Day and Twitter.
Oh, Lord. So, between last podcast and now, Twitter has revised its policies and sort of put out a notice that those of us who were using the older API for things like login, as Exploit Zero Day does, that they were not just planning to decommission that, but go ahead and decommission it on pretty short notice. So we went ahead and we have updated Exploit Zero Day to use the new version of the API, etc., etc. But given the short notice, and given some other things like the fact that my side application, Granny Square Colors, just got turned off without any notice early. They never told me why, by the way, even when they restored it. Given all of that, we are not going to do a lot to maintain Twitter. If it breaks again, or they have some weird policy shift, the way Elon Musk is running this, and unfortunately the way their dev team is also having to run this, is just a mess. They're doing relatively short notice changes, policy shifts, charging people $100+ a month, and going back and forth so much that there's a limit on how much energy we're going to put into it. And we have a plan, in case it does get shut off, how we can help users add other authentication methods. And in fact, if you do use Twitter to log into Exploit Zero Day, we suggest that you go into your account and either add email password or add Google or Facebook. Even Facebook is more stable than Twitter right now. So, yeah, we recommend just having a little redundancy plan. If you run into trouble, drop us an email, info@futureproofgames.com, and we will help you get connected with some other method.
This doesn't affect very many users, and it's only if you use Twitter to log into exploitzeroday.com is it an issue. So if you don't, you're good. If you do, add another login method.
Yep.
Just in case.
So yeah, it's pretty simple. It's regrettable. Twitter's had a good run. We'll see if it keeps on trucking for a while longer.
It had an okay run. I'm not sure it ever had a good run. It did all right.
Twitter has provided space for many good things to happen. So, speaking further of sort of legacy work and long-standing platforms, we've been dealing with some Majesty of Colors and Google Play stuff.
Yeah, so Google requires that if you're going to keep selling your apps on their platform for Android for phones, that you have to support the latest or recent versions of the Android OS, which is fine. It's a little annoying. It's fine. But because our game Majesty of Colors Remastered is made in Unity, it's a little more complicated. So we are working on a release to update Majesty of Colors to support modern versions of Android. Should be out pretty soon. There's a chance that it'll be unavailable on the Play Store temporarily, depending on the schedule that Google has. But we've got an update in the works. However, it has been a frustrating thing. I've been doing most of the development work on it, and Melissa has had the unfortunate task of having to test it and find all the weird edge cases and issues that pop up. But I've got a note in the show notes in the podcast script not to rant too much, so I'll try and try and stay level-headed. It should not be difficult to build an old project for a new system. This is a thing that is just done for most development environments, can just handle this pretty straightforwardly without much change. Unity, kind of fitting its pattern of being a good starting platform, but not really supporting professional development very well, ongoing professional development. Essentially, I had to upgrade our Majesty of Colors to the latest 2022 version of Unity. It was on an ancient version of the Java virtual machine for its builds. It was like there's no way to really have Unity support a newer version of Android without just updating all of Unity. So that's unfortunate. And layered onto that is all the other shitty things about Unity. You know, they are still doing crypto stuff, crappy NFT crypto stuff. They put out a press release in February of this year being like, yep, we're still on NFTs. We're not going to use the word NFTs, but that's what we're talking about. They're still doing defense contracts, making military software. And they've just announced that they're doing machine learning AI. So, add plagiarism to the list of things that they're really interested in rather than, maintainability of projects. So we're pretty much on the Godot train right now. We're lucky enough that if we want to do a game that takes place in a 3D development environment, we can use Godot because we're not going to do anything hugely fancy. There are a lot of people out there that can't because they're doing something more ambitious. Hopefully they can move to Unreal. I don't really recommend Unity as a platform. Unreal has its own problems for sure, but it definitely seems more maintainable than Unity. But that's a frustrating thing. Long story short, the Majesty of Colors Remastered should remain available medium to long term, but it's annoying keeping it running because we didn't have to actually change anything. We just had to update it to build in the new version of Unity. So,
and really, it just needed to be in the new version of the Android SDK.
Right? Yeah. It should have been much more straightforward than it was.
Right. Unfortunate.
But we've unfortunately had to deal with kind of a shitty organization. But we've also done some good lately.
Yes. So back in March, we talked about the TTRPGs for trans rights in Florida bundle. It feels weird just tack the word
it's
bundle.
It's such a long name.
It's so long. That bundle kicked off in April and ran for, I think, about 3 weeks. It was a pretty long run, but it did wonderfully. It raised over $280,000 that were going to both the Zebra Youth Charity and the Trans Inclusive Group, both in Florida. If you know about news in Florida at all, you know that things are very bad right now for trans folk and trans youth and marginalized folks all around, but particularly trans folks. So it's very, very cool to see it hit that mark of 283,000, in fact, almost 84,000. And if you purchase that bundle, you now own Rosette Diceless. So dive in, ask us questions if you have them. Mm-hmm. We have stream archives of us playing it online. We have Gregory's podcast, Tabletop Garden.
If you go to tabletop.garden and listen to The Great Molasses Flood, that's done in Rosette Diceless. And to be clear, most of the credit should go to the organizers who worked very hard on this.
It took a lot of work, especially over the holidays and into the beginning of the new year, to pull all that together. So yeah, try out Rosette Diceless. Let us know what you think. If you have questions or you want more examples or suggestions or whatever, reach out. And
as we say periodically, if you want us to run a game of Rosette Diceless on your stream or your podcast, we will do so happily and eagerly. So if you're like, Rosette Diceless sounds cool, I've got a platform that maybe they would want to promote the game on, we will happily run a short campaign or one shot for you in the system.
Absolutely.
You can also reach out to us if you're just some rando wanting to do a campaign. Less of a guarantee that we'll find the time for that. But we're always happy to give advice.
Yeah.
So if you want to check out more information on Ossuary, which is on sale, Exploit Zero Day, which you should add a login to, Majesty of Colors, which should remain available, or Rosette Diceless, you can go to futureproofgames.com. You can find us on Twitter for now at PlayFutureProof. We are on co-host as FPG, and we're on YouTube as Futureproof Games. You can ask us questions. You can just let us know what you think of our stuff on our blog, on social media. You can email us at info@futureproofgames.com. And thanks for listening. Our theme music is Juparo by Broke for Free, which is used with permission.